My wife demanded a prenup and told me I should be grateful she married me because I'd never find anyone better. When I filed for divorce, the prenup she demanded locked her out of everything. Lana told me on our second date that I was lucky she agreed to go out with me. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. That was the first time she said something like that, and I let it go. I let it go for 3 years. We got married in 2021. Small wedding. I paid for everything. About 40 people total. During the reception, Lana told her cousin Heaven right in front of me that she could have done better, but I was stable. I stood there holding 2 plates of cake and pretended I didn't hear it. Before the wedding, Lana insisted on a prenup. She sat me down one night and told me she needed to protect herself. She said it like I was a risk, like I was the one who might take something from her. The thing was, Lana didn't have anything. She worked part-time at a clothing store making maybe $1,500 a month. I was an engineer pulling 6 figures. But she wanted the prenup because she believed she was the prize in this arrangement and needed protection from the day I inevitably disappointed her. I signed it because I loved her and because I figured if it gave her peace of mind, then fine. I didn't read it carefully. Neither did she. Her cousin's boyfriend Gulliver, who she called her lawyer, drew it up off some template he found online. 3 years of marriage, no kids, 3 years of being told I should be grateful. It became her favorite sentence. You should be grateful I even considered marrying you. She said it when I asked her to help with dishes. She said it when I suggested we split the grocery bill since she'd started buying high-end everything on my card. She said it when I asked her to turn down the television at midnight on a work night. Every small disagreement became a reminder that she was doing me a favor by being in the same house as me. Gratitude. That was the word she used like a weapon. She expected it from me the way you'd expect it from a stray dog you let inside during a storm. Last March, we got into an argument about something small. I don't even remember what started it. The next morning, I had to fly out for a work conference. 3 days in another city. As I was loading my suitcase into the car, Lana leaned against the doorframe and said good luck sleeping alone, knowing she could treat herself to nice men while I was gone. She said it with a smile, like it was clever, like I was supposed to laugh and then spend 3 nights in a hotel room thinking about it. I sat in that airport terminal for 2 hours feeling sick. She didn't mean it literally. I knew that. But she said it because she wanted me to feel small, and it worked. 2 months later, we were shopping at a mall, and I told her I wasn't buying a $300 jacket because we were saving for a new roof. She grabbed my arm and shoved me forward, hard. I stumbled into a bench. There were people around, a family with kids walking right past us. I caught my balance and immediately put my arm around her and smiled like we were playing around. I covered for her. I made it look like a joke because the alternative was standing in the middle of a shopping center, admitting my wife just pushed me in front of strangers. That night, she didn't apologize. She gave me the silent treatment for 2 days. On the 3rd day, she told me I embarrassed her by refusing to buy the jacket in public. I apologized. I actually apologized to the person who shoved me. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling and something in my chest felt different. Not broken, just done. Like a switch flipping off and not coming back on. The following week, I called a divorce attorney, Mr. Aquino, older guy, calm. He read the prenup in 3 minutes and looked up at me and asked who drafted it. I told him my wife's cousin's boyfriend. He set the paper down and explained that this document was a standard asset protection template designed to ensure both parties leave the marriage with only what they brought into it. Since Lana had no significant assets going in and I had the house, the savings, and the retirement fund, the prenup effectively locked her out of everything. Whoever filled in the blanks had no idea what the clauses actually meant. I filed the next week. Lana got served on a Wednesday. She called me at work. Not sad, not confused, furious. She told me I was making the biggest mistake of my life. She said no one else would ever want me. She said I'd come crawling back. I told her I already had thought carefully about it. Her attorney contacted Mr. Aquino 2 weeks later. I don't know what Lana expected. Half the house, maybe. Alimony, something. Her attorney reviewed the prenup that Lana herself demanded, and the conversation was short. Both parties leave with what they brought in. Lana brought a suitcase of clothes and a cat. I brought everything else. Her attorney advised her not to contest it. She tried anyway. That Sunday, her parents called. Isabel went first, voice warm and shaky like she'd been working up to it for hours. We've always thought of you as a son. You know that, right? She told me Lana was a mess. She hadn't been eating. She was sleeping on a mattress on the floor of their guest room. Then she got to the point. She wasn't asking me to stay married. She was asking me to change the terms. She'll have nothing. You can't do that to someone you once loved. I sat there with my fork halfway to my mouth, pasta getting cold, and I felt that old familiar pull in my chest, the one that always made me say yes. Then Ken got on. No trembling, no warmth, just a man who thought he was being reasonable. Look, I'm not going to pretend my daughter is perfect, but you're an engineer. You'll make it all back. She can't. Just give her the house or enough to get on her feet. Be the bigger man. Be the bigger man. I almost said I'd think about it. I literally bit the inside of my cheek to keep the rest of that sentence from coming out because I knew what I'll think about it meant. It meant yes. It meant I was folding again. I told Ken I appreciated the call, but I wasn't going to discuss the terms outside of my attorney's office. He didn't like that. He said something about how attorneys make everything worse. I said goodnight and hung up. My hands were shaky after. Not because I was scared, because saying no to people who sound disappointed in you is one of the hardest things in the world when you've spent 3 years being trained to say yes. The next morning, Mr. Aquino said, when the legal path is closed, they go emotional. Do not agree to anything outside this office. Lana demanded this prenup. She chose these terms. She chose the person who drafted them. Every single part of this was her decision. She built the cage, and now she's upset she's the one locked inside it. That isn't your fault. I called my parents after. My mom, Bree, said, I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Just like that. No lecture. My dad, Maximus, said, stay the course. You did nothing wrong. Don't let anyone make you feel like you did. For 2 days, I felt steady, like my feet were actually under me. Then Thursday night, Bree called again, voice quiet and unsure. I got a call from Lana today. She was crying. She told me things about you I need to hear your side of. Whatever hope I'd been building over the past 2 days disappeared. Lana hadn't gone through the courts. She hadn't gone through her parents again. She'd gone straight to my mother. She'd found the one door I didn't think to lock and walked right through it. Bree wouldn't repeat what Lana said over the phone. She wanted to see my face when I answered. I drove to my parents' house the next morning. By the time I pulled into the driveway, my jaw was tight and my hands were gripping the steering wheel like it owed me money. Bree was at the dining table with her hands folded in front of her like she was about to lead a a meeting she didn't want to be in charge of. Maximus stood by the counter with his arms crossed. Bree said, Lana said you controlled all the money. She said you monitored her spending and made her feel like she couldn't buy anything without your permission. She said you yelled at her regularly and that she was afraid to leave. Every word landed like a brick. My own mother was sitting there repeating things about me that weren't true. I sat down across from her and I asked, do you believe her? Bree didn't answer right away. She looked down at her hands. She opened her mouth and then closed it again. Those 2 or 3 seconds where my mother couldn't immediately say no hit me harder than anything Lana had ever said to me during the entire marriage. Maximus broke the silence. We don't believe her. But we need to hear your side because if there's even a chance, we need to know. So I took the floor. I told them about the mall, the shove, the apology to the woman who put her hands on me. 3 years of you should be grateful until it stopped sounding like words and started sounding like a fact. The airport comment, all of it. Every piece I'd been holding in because I didn't want them to worry, because I thought I could handle it, because I was embarrassed. When I was done, Bree's eyes were wet, but she wasn't crying. I pulled out my phone, opened the text thread with Lana, and showed Bree the messages. You should be thanking me for staying. I could have married someone who actually deserved me. Remember who settled for who. Bree read them slowly. Her expression changed as she went. The confusion left. The uncertainty left. What replaced it was something quiet and hard, like a door closing. She looked up. She sat on my couch and cried for 40 minutes, and none of this came up. Maximus put his hand on the back of her chair and looked at me. Call your attorney. If she's willing to lie to us, she'll lie to a judge. I called Mr. Aquino right there at my parents' dining table. He said, if she alleges duress or coercion during the signing, a judge could review the prenup's enforceability. We need documentation, texts, emails, anything showing she was the one who initiated and controlled the prenup process. I told him about Heaven and Gulliver. They were both in our living room the night Lana brought up the prenup. Mr. Aquino said, get me their statements, and this ends before it starts. I texted Heaven a short, polite message. 2 sentences of actual ask, a couple of polite ones around it, a thank you at the end. Then I waited. 1 hour, nothing. 2 hours, still nothing. The message had been read an hour and 40 minutes ago. No reply. I was standing by the window when my phone finally rang. It wasn't Heaven. It was Lana, voice amused. Did you really just message my cousin? Are you that desperate? Heaven already told me everything. You're even more pathetic than I thought. She'd gotten there first. I hung up without responding. I sat down on the couch and stared at the wall for a few minutes. I wasn't panicking. I wasn't falling apart. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't sting. I had been counting on Heaven. Mr. Aquino said her testimony could end this, and now that door was shut. I called Heaven directly 10 minutes later. She picked up on the 4th ring. I don't want to be in the middle of this, she said before I could finish a sentence. I asked her one question. Did Lana ask Gulliver to write that prenup? Yes or no? The line went quiet. Then she said, she's my cousin. I can't do this to her. I'm sorry. She hung up. I called Gulliver next. He picked up like he'd been expecting me. Lana told me you'd probably call. Listen, I'm not a real lawyer. I just found a template online and filled in the blanks. I don't want any part of this. I told him I just needed him to sign a statement confirming he drafted it at Lana's request. He went quiet, then said, I'll think about it. I knew exactly what that meant. I'd said the same words to Ken 3 days earlier. I called Mr. Aquino that afternoon. I told him Heaven refused. Gulliver dodged. Lana was 1 step ahead of me on every call. He said, don't panic. The document itself tells the story. The template language, the lack of legal review. No judge is going to look at this and believe a licensed attorney drafted it under duress. The prenup speaks for itself. That same evening,